Live case and lecture 15. We'd like to focus on CTO. Okay, Nasu sensei?
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. You're on the screen.
Okay, thank you very much for invitation to our live demonstration for TCTAP 2023. I'm Ken Anas. As you know, that I left to Ashida last September. That I have already started the new career in Mie Heart Center, and also that my boss is Dr. Nishikawa is one of the pioneer in this field. So please let me introduce him and. Can I have an opening remark for this session? Dr. Nishikawa, please.
Thank you, Dr. Nasu, and good morning, everyone. I'm Dr. Hideo Nishikawa and the chairman of Mie Heart Center. I've been to Seoul for TCTAP for 10 years or more. TCTAP was a very wonderful and attractive course with a live and scientific session. It's my honor to have this live course from our heart center. We are very exciting for this live using by a brand new Canon-made machine. Recently, I had a big surprise about new technique and unbelievable reduction of radiation exposure. It's amazing and breakthrough. Please enjoy our live course from Mie Heart Center by Dr. Nasu. Thank you again. Would you please start, Dr. Nasu?
Yes, thank you very much. Okay, we started I want to introduce our case. So, please start with the case presentation.
Yes. Today's target lesion is RCA mid-CDO. This procedure is second attempt. And previous interventional history is shown here. 3 years ago, first attempt was performed. However, Antegrade and Retrograde approach, both approaches were failed. And that time, LED mid-stenting was performed. And then last September, ICD was implanted due to ventricular fibrillation. And past medical history is shown here. Next slide, please. And his coronary risk factor is diabetes and hypertension and hyperlipidemia. And his age is 63. And next slide. His left ventricular ejection fraction is preserved at 54%. And inferior wall akinesis was documented. And next, please. And this is first attempt. And as shown, RCA mid-CDO and Antegrade approach was failed.
Next, please. And
CD angiogram shows mid-RCA CDO and total length, including CDO, is 24.6 millimeter. And spotty qualification is shown at CDO lesion. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. I want to summarize the last procedure. Can I see the G-Navi にしてくれる? So in the initial angiogram show us that you can see some island in the CTO segment, and also some bridging collateral or some collateral flow, some flow from the proximal to the distal end. So we can see some small branch. This is a RB branch. Anyway, the Antegrade approach has been failed. Also, the last time, So the operator tried to select the septal channel, but the septal channel selection was not easy. Finally, they gave up the procedure. So I want to show today's angiogram. So 今日の暗示バイラテラルで見せてもらっていいですか？そうじゃなくて、ここ出せないの？僕の、ここな。そう。This is today's first shot. I used 8 French L1 for the Antegrade. And for the Retrograde, I used a 7 French 3.5 SPB. So I inserted the 2 wire, 1 wire into the LED, the 1 wire floating the aorta, because the guide caster is very easy to deep engage for the LED. So we blocked the deep engage by the floating shown blue. So as you can see, some collateral flow. As you can see, some collateral flow from the septal and the epicardial channel, but there is no promising way. Anyway, we can see some connection, but looks very difficult. So that is today's initial angiogram. Please discuss the procedure of this case.
This is a very interesting case. Thank you for presenting. I'm Dimitrios Karmpaliotis from Morristown Medical Center. I would like to introduce our panel here, co-moderating with Sensei Asakura, and then we have, forgive me if I mispronounce the name, Dr. Ashida, Dr. Chan, Dr. Kip Chan, Aloke Fin, my good friend, Maoto, Habara, Donk Bin Kim, Dr. Nagamatsu, Dr. Santoso, Dr. Teguh, and Dr. Yoon. So any thoughts from any of the panelists about the approach? We have a prior failed Antegrade approach here. So anybody from the panel that would want to comment about the strategy?
So I think that this is there no interventional collateral from the retrograde. So I think that antegrade approach with IVAS guide puncture at the proximal site is reasonable. And after that, anyways, I want to get island at CTO site.
So my strategy is maybe the antegrade approach first, because there is no good intervention collateral, as same mentioned to the Dr. Habara. So, but CTO length is not so long, and one CTO has microchannel or vertical collateral, and second CTO is very small length. However, one problem is bent curve in the CTO length. So maybe a hard guide wire is easy go to the subinternal space. It's one problem, I think. So the two also think the area view and the area cranial or area coda view is very important.
Any other comments? Would you reattempt Antegrade, or would you try primary retrograde this time, Dr. Ashida?
Yeah, I mentioned.
That was you. I'm sorry. Aloke, are you here?
Yeah, I'm right here.
Hey.
This looks difficult. I would say that I would ask your opinion. You're more of the expert CTO than I am, but I think that I would probably try Antegrade approach. It looks like maybe they could get through, and it's a short segment CTO, as they mentioned. So probably seems a lot simpler than trying to go retrograde here.
Okay, can I ask you, I see that you have a wire in your retrograde guide. Can you explain us why you have that wire? Were you having dampening on the left main?
Yes, sure. So that's why I inserted one wire to the LED, and another one is floating in aorta. So we broke the chip of the guiding caster to prevent the deep engage.
Okay.
What's the reason?
This is not something I've seen very often. That's why I'm asking you. So I want to learn from you. What's the purpose of this
これアンテか。
wire there?
あ、これ出てるか。こっちか。アンテからちょっと一回打つか。OK。んどう
Do you use a biplane system?
Yeah, sure. This is a Canon machine. So I'm using the biplane system.
And you have two femoral guides?
Yes, of course. So for Antegrade, I use L1, and so for Retrograde, it's SPB 3.5. So Antegrade 8 French. Retrograde is 7 French.
So your strategy here is to reattempt Antegrade?
Yes, because in anyway, Retrograde, there is no promising channel, and also originally this CTO is not so long, but the morphology is a little bit tricky.
It is, yes.
But I want to start it from the Antegrade.
Just a question for everybody and for you, Sensei, as well. You have a prior failure. Did you have a pre-procedure CT to help you get an idea of the course of the vessel, and how often do you use it after a failed prior attempt?
Okay, yeah, maybe so. Just commentator can answer.
Well, Dr. Nasu, you got a very beautiful pre-procedural CT scan images. In your lab, can you overlay the CT images onto the angiogram in your lab?
No. Actually, it's meaningless, I think, because the coronary is always dancing. So if we are now developing the ECG synchronized angiogram now, but the synchronization is not perfect. Otherwise, it's always so overlapping is not so. Yes, so it's completely not completely overlapped. Between the angiogram and the CT images. So I think so we can use a CT angiogram we can use some difference, but overlapping is very difficult so far.
Thank you.
And can you tell us which wire you're using for your Antegrade attempt?
Okay. So now I'm using the Miracle Neo 3 gram. So I know that in Europe it's not available, but this is almost the same as UV3.
Is it the new Miracle that has the Act 1 core of
Sure. That's right.
Of the guy and the
Yes.
other wire? Okay. I can't wait to have this wire to try it. I heard very, very good things about it.
So we cannot see.
Are you using a Sasuke or what sort of microcapital?
But my primarily I use this is a Corsair. So yeah, if the proximal puncture is difficult, I will use the Sasuke. But I'm sorry, I could show the original IBUS findings from the side branch. So the 最初の IBUS プルバックを。
Yes,
So
we
this
can
is a
see the IBUS, yes.
Okay. This is IBUS from the side branch. So from the 6 o'clock, the main vessel is coming, but we can see some stump is there. So maybe the puncture is not so difficult. So use the Corsair and the Miracle Neo 3 for the initial wire. So anyway, my first wire is a little bit advanced, but I'm not sure where it is. So I try to advance the Corsair and check the IBUS or chip injection or something. But anyway, here is the island portion. If the wire is in a correct space, we can check the chip injection. 메달이 university.
So we see the vessel at around 5 to 6 o'clock. Is that what you're seeing from the IVUS?
We can see some もう一回そのバイファケーションのとこ見せて。In the main vessel, we can see some lotus, looks like the lotus root shape lumen. So I'm not sure that in the first alternative, maybe the guide wire can make it this dissection or something. So this IVUS findings is very difficult to know what is occurred. ちょっともうちょっとそここのバイファケーションのところしっかり何回も流してあげてくれへんかな。ここからここの間の間隔だけは流すことできるでしょ。So maybe you can see some multiple lumen and orifice. So, okay. But we cannot see the backflow, so it's very bad news. But anyway, this is in the vessel, I think, inside the vessel. So, 違う。とりあえずシオンちょうだい。シオンちょうだい。
So this is still a pullback from the side branch that you're showing us now?
Yes. Okay, ライブにして。Probably from 6 o'clock you can see that this is Corsair. So at least the orifice, the wire is in the two lumen. But I'm not sure that the chip of the microcatheter is in a island or not.
At this point, Sensei, would you de-escalate your wire into something softer, or would you continue with your miracle?
No, I'm using the Xion now, but you can see some dissection.
Yes.
So that means the chip of the microcatheter is the subintimal space. So we can change the plan. じゃあ、ネオ3ちょうだい。So we inserted the neo 3 grams and checked the IVUS inside the CTO segment. So today's my plan is I want to continue the Antegrade approach to the IVUS guided guide wiring. And if the IVUS guided rewiring is very difficult, I want to concentrate the channel selection from the retrograde side.
What was the purpose of the tip injection?
Yes, but if the wire is in a island portion, so we can see the backflow and we can check the morphology of the distal CTO segment. So I want to check the chip of the microcatheter inside the.
No, the reason I'm asking this, and I would like the opinion of the panel, is you know by the IVUS that you're in the structure of the vessel, and there are two options. You're either intraplaque or extraplaque, and you're injecting, and now you're creating a dissection, which may make your antegrade approach a little bit less successful. Sensei, you have any opinion on that? Would you have done a tip injection there, or would you use your wire to tell you where you are?
Personally, I don't like tip injection.
Yes, me neither. That's why I'm asking you. We agree at something.
It's a very difficult situation.
Yes.
Well, anyway, if we can see the backflow, we can inject it dye. But today, I cannot see the backflow. That's why I stopped it. I didn't do the chip injection.
Okay, so that was not a tip injection that we see there?
Sure. Yeah,
Yes, he did not chip injection at this point. So that so he just put back that so and confirm that so blood flow. If there is a blood flow, he will chip injection. But so he could not confirm that so blood flow. So that so he did not chip injection.
Okay.
Hey.
How long ago was the previous attempt?
It's 2.5 years.
Ah, okay.
あ、抜けちゃったじゃん、先生。まあ、しょうがねえ。いえいえ。ちょっと待って。大丈夫、大丈夫。So the wire is out, so I will. あら。
Any comments from any of the panelists? We can see already an antegrade dissection plane there. Would you continue with wires? Would you try to go retrograde? Would you switch to a re-entry approach? Anybody, please, from the left?
Of course, so if there is a interventional collateral, so I will change it to the retrograde approach this time. But also, previous angiography shows that so there is no interventional collateral, so that so this means that so it a little bit difficult to retrograde. So that these situations, the vessel is relatively large, so I think that so there is a chance of the IVAS guide rewiring.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Any other thoughts?
Okay, well, I think I will still continue with the Antegrade approach for a while more. For example, we can try the parallel wire technique with the wire in the 4-track and then use another wire trying to see whether you can enter into the true lumen. Well, ADR, well, we need to review the CT scan. I don't know whether ADR is a Antegrade dissection reentry is a viable option in these sort of cases because the patient got a previous attempt of retrograde, which was failed. So, and there was commented that there was no interventional collateral at that time. But, well, as Dimitrios has pointed out that it was done several years ago. So maybe we can reattempt the retrograde approach. The Antegrade approach failed.
1.25でいいや。1.25でいいや。
I agree with previous panel opinion because left guiding is very unstable guiding, so it makes some problems. So I prefer the re-attempt integrated approach.
Okay.
Can I ask you, what branch do you guiding catheter use? It seems to like 6 branch.
It's not a 6 range, it is 80 range. Okay.違う、流麗。So I will dilate the 1.25 inside the CTO segment and inside the IBUS. And I want to check on my wire position. ちょっとちゃんとテンションだ。また先生に毛引っ張りすぎてる。 バリすぎだよ、もう。マジか、もう。はいはい。バリすぎです。じゃあ、いくだろう。よいしょ。これはここにしか行かないから。よいしょ。部分が見えた。いいよ。どうぞ。80。リフレッシュ。はい、10。はい、リフレッシュ。少々保存して。はい、10。
Can I ask a question? I can see that the Y is likely in the subintimal space around the island of contrast there. So would you, instead of doing dilation and IVUS and check the Y position,
yes.
Instead of doing that, would you consider just directly go for parallel wiring, perhaps with the assistance of a dual lumen catheter?
Yeah, for the parallel wiring, we can see, we can get the good quality of the retrograde angiogram. But for this case, from the retrograde injection, cannot visualize clearly the distal landing zone, especially the distal end of the CTO. And because, yeah, of course, already Antegrade breaching collateral flow disappeared, so sometimes we can see the retrograde flow can visualize, can visualize clearly, but anyway, we need to so much contrast for completed parallel wire for this case. That's why I skipped the parallel wire, and I want to check the IVUS.
Yeah, and actually, in this time, the second attempt, and already created a subintimal space, extra plug space, and the last time, I think the IVUS guided is their best option for this case in this time.
Well, demo is in is in true lumen, at least here. Not intima. This is subintima. How do you think?
Yes. Yes.
This is subintima.
I would like the comments of other panelists. In my experience, doing a guide wire attempt at re-entry when you're in the subintimal space, in my hands at least, but obviously you may have more experience, it's not very successful. What is the opinion of the panel? Once you have the wire antegrade, do you insist on trying to get back into the true lumen with the wire, or you try a different technique? Anybody from the panel?
これはでも中膜はあるんじゃないの？ね。
I think that so this is so intraplug.
So I think this is some Lotus root type of the multi-channel is already made. Of course, 12 o'clock side with the hematoma, but now is IVUS is inner to lumen, I guess. So, Habara, don't you think so?
I agree with you. Switching, please change the image of the IVUS more bigger one. IVUS image change. Yeah. So I agree. So there is also lotus root, but also IVUS is in the center of the vessel, and that is in a true lumen.
So anyway, we can continue the Antegrade procedure. And now is the tip of the wire hit the calcification. So as CT findings, we can see the very big calcification, real distal end of the CTO. So I want to continue this procedure and try to penetrate the distal cap of the CTO from now. So that, くさびください。くさびちゃう？引っ張っちゃダメよ。いいからいいから。出して。
So in Japan, so we have a thermo IVUS, that is a new one, so anti-oral IVUS, that is crossability is better compared to the previous one, and so that is also compatible, so 7 French for the IVUS guide, and so tip to the imaging core is about 7 millimeter or 8 millimeter. So that's for the IVUS guide rewiring. So that is very useful to use.
Although it's not very popular in Japan, Dimitrios, can I ask you, in US, will you quickly switch over to ADR with all these dedicated cloth balls and Stingray's balloon?
Well, Sensei, you're reading my mind, but I know that in some places in Japan, ADR is a forbidden word even to suggest. So I kept a little bit silent. I think that this case has a very nice landing distance zone.
Yes.
If you can throw a knuckle and minimize with a soft wire with an XT, you can probably get into the structure of the vessel at the horizontal part of the RCA. And if you have a dedicated re-entry device, that might be an option. What I'm a little bit worried about the IVUS-guided re-entry technique is that you keep on extending the subintimal space, and that might make your re-entry a little bit more difficult. So if it was in the US at this point, probably I would try briefly parallel wire, and then I would try ADR. And I also think that the retrograde options are not necessarily out of the question here. I would try and see if I can get retrograde. And if you accomplish that, then the case is done, because you're already subintimal, antegrade, and then it's very easy reverse card.
Thank you.
And also in other parts of the world, we don't have the good IVUS device that has a very short leading tip. So it could be difficult to do this true IVUS guide wiring with other IVUS device.
Yes, I think so too. So sometimes I do the cases in Europe or the other country without a thermal IVUS. Real IVUS guided rewiring is very difficult. So Dr. Dimitrios' opinion is acceptable. So if in some other country, I also selected the parallel wire and the ADR for this kind of the case. Okay. So now, so guide wire is in a almost so hit the calcium portion. じゃあ、レトロを取ろうかな。レトロを取る用意して、これレトロだね。で、はいはい。ちょっと待って、まず5番。5番を常に見せてほしいんです。So this is a RO bilateral angio around the distal end of the CTO. Maybe you cannot see it on the screen, but I can see the distal landing zone in the right side of the calcium in the aerial view. And in the aerial view,
Maybe on the left?
no. Yeah, I think the almost right side got some overlapping of the calcification in aerial view. So anyway, I want to check the retrograde shot. これレトロでしょ。そうそうそう。じゃあまあ、とりあえず見てみようか。はい、行こう。バッター、どういい感じできてるけど、どうですか So we can visualize the distal landing zone now. So wire course is not so bad. So I want to change the guide wire for the penetration. So which wire do you recommend it from the panel?
Gaia next.
2でいいかな。じゃあ2ちょうだい。
I want to ask to Dr. Habara. We already discussed about penetration plane method.
Yeah.
In this case, penetration plane method.
So for to use the penetration method, so the ECG synchronized system and perpendicular view is so important. So this case is so we did not use ECG synchronized system. So a little bit difficult to use PPV. But so perpendicular view is very important. So that this is 44 degrees LAO and LAO cranial 45. I think that Dr. Nasu was calculated perpendicular view.
最後の、そうそう。Yes, I already calculated by the software for the perpendicular view for this part of the around the distal landing zone. So as you can see, the aeriocranial and the aerial view this is the calculated perpendicular view. さて。ちょっと見せて、最後の見せて。
So which wire are you using now? You're trying to do a wire-based re-entry at the distal cap?
Yes, this is a Gaia Next 2.
Gaia, okay. Yes.
But still, we have some resistance around here.
Resistance is good. That means you're not in the pericardium.
This is Gaia 4.
Yeah, this is Gaia second, so the 4, please.
Can you talk to us a little bit about your radiation equipment? I see that you're 14.2 minutes of fluoro time and you're only 36.4 milligray. Are you using low pulse rate? You're using slow 7.5 frames? It seems, or is the patient just very thin?
Oh, but this is a, yeah, I'm thinking that it's okay. That I use a 7.5 frame per second. And the Canon new machine, the radiation exposure is very less.
No, it's not meant to be a criticism. It's very low radiation so far. I'm just trying to, for the audience to understand what are the settings that you're using.
Okay.
You change the wire?
Yes, this is Gaia Next 4.
Oh, okay.
So you're trying to point left on the LAO view and perhaps straight down on the RAO view?
Yes, but the guide wire very easy to slip. Okay.
May I ask our Japanese colleague, what is the tip force of this guy next for?
Habara 答えてあげない。
Sorry.
ネクストフォーのチップロードとか。
何グラム
調べましょうか。
10グラムだよ、10グラ
10
ム。
gram. That is so.
10 gram, thank you.
ちょっと最後の見せて。うん。よいしょ。ちょっとダメだな。I will change the curve.
What was the mechanism of failure on the previous attempt?
Looks outside.
Anyway, first antegrade wire go into the subintimal space. And the operator changed to the retrograde approach, but the channel selection has been failed. That's all.
Okay, I think that's very important to know and go back and review the films of the previous case so that you don't try to do the same thing again. We learn a lot when we review prior failures, so I think it's very important.
Yes, I think so too.
Please tell me that you're not going to inject again.
Yeah. ちょっと最後の見せてくれる？これはダメだ。これからオーバーラップしに行かないな。これはいいですよ。
Any thoughts from the panelists about changing
投資保存して。
approach
投資保
or
存して。
doing anything different at this point? Anybody from the panel?
I think the wire is subintimal, and
Yeah, we know that. Yeah.
yes, and probably this is a good time to try ADR with Stingray, because otherwise, if the hematoma propagates distally, you may lose the access to the distal circulation.
そうか、そうきちゃうのか。
I will consider trying the parallel wire, to see whether there's any
はい、サスケ出して。
advances.
So the ADR is one option, and another option is a chip detection ADR because he used anti-ribus, and the distal end of CTO has calcification. So the more controllable ADR is chip detection ADR is superior compared to the original ADR, I think.
I actually think that you have a pretty good landing zone for ADR there. But again, there are many ways you can skin the cat.
Yeah, I will move to the parallel wire.
I have a question to Dr. Dimitrios sensei. So to perform ADR, so we have to navigate the guide wire to the subintimal space. But so in these situations, there is also very tough classification at this point. How to navigate the guide wire in adventitia to the distal. So we, of course, stiff wire sometimes go to the outside of the vessel.
So it's a very good point. So, but maybe the first guide wire go to the subintimal space. Maybe the more distal side is suitable position as the suita ADR or chip projection ADR. So guide wire more distally, and check to deliver the corset and then IVAS check. And maybe the more distal side has a suitable position, ADR or chip ADR, I think.
So that the Gaia next 4 go to the subintimal space. So this means that Gaia next 4 advance to the distal.
No. Maybe the now guide wire is located maybe subintimal space. So change guide wires UB3 or next Neo 3 because I'm afraid to perforation. So UB3 or Neo 3 is better compared to the Gaia 3, I think.
So you have a dual lumen catheter now?
Yes, this is Sasuke.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but when you use this technique, this is not a classic parallel wire technique, because the idea behind parallel wire is to actually puncture more proximally into the true lumen. Here you basically doing you're doing a modification of a seesaw technique. So you're trying with 2 wires to essentially get back into the true lumen, correct?
No, we confirmed the wire position is in a true lumen by IVAS findings. At least the middle of the CTO segment, that we can confirm that the wire position is true. So from the distal part of the CDO, Gaia next 4 unfortunately go into the subintimal space. That's why I inserted the Sasuke around the mid portion of the CTO segment and then try to different way from there. So in aerial view, it looks not so bad, but I'm not sure.
No, but again, for the audience, what I'm trying to say is that the classic parallel wire is not to try to enter in the body of the occlusion, if you're subintimal, is to try and change the geography and the geometry of the vessel and try and puncture from more proximal. I don't know if this is a seesaw wiring technique. This is not parallel wire. Yeah, I actually see I actually see a slide here.
Yes.
I have to commend you also and congratulate you on how patient you are. At this point, I would have changed probably 3-4 different strategies, but I am Greek and I'm not very patient. So please keep on trying what you're doing. You're clearly in a failure mode here, so you need to think of something different. Was there a previous retrograde attempt? Because I see some AV fistula down in the.
I didn't see the first attempt procedure, but the retrograde channel negotiation is not so long time, so there is no big complication during the previous retrograde approach.
No, but you see what I'm talking about, where the pacemaker crosses the PDA. You can see a little bit of AV fistula down there, or a type 4 perf into the cavity.
Mm, ちょっと一個前見して。とりあえず。よし、アイバスしよう。So I want to check the IBUS. これ、リサークはいるな。こいつはいらない。はい、持って。
Any ideas from the panelists? Would they do something different at this point? Will they change strategy, or any comments? No comments?
なんかHabara喋れよ。
Yeah, so that's so the IBAS confirms that so almost the so CTO site is intraplug, and so I think that so just so subintimal space is so just so distal exit, so that so I think that so there is one chance to the so IBAS guided puncture. So I think that so that so he changed it to the guide wire of the Gaia next 4 to the so Miracle Neo 3 so to navigate the so IBAS. After that, so I will I think that so there is a chance to IBAS guide puncture to the so distal exit.
1.5 ちょうだいバロン。1.25 ちょうだい。1.25 ちょう。よっしゃ。いや、of course。これいや、ちょっとね。ちょっと一個前見して。 ごい出てる。
You still have the Gaia 4?
No, this is Neo 3.
What? Excuse me?
Yeah, Neo 3 gram. Miracle Neo 3 gram.
Neo 3.
Neo 3.
Yeah, so that's so Miracle Neo 3 support power is so better compared to the so Gaia Next 4. So that's so to advance the IVAS, so it is better to use Miracle Neo 3. So, compared to the so Gaia series.
And additionally, the ball tip, the morphology is a brown type. It'll be difficult to occur the perforation.
Yeah. So actually, I'm a Japanese, so that I am Asian people. So compared with the European or the US guy, the patient, the Asian people, the patient is adventitia is not so hard. So I have some knuckle wiring perforation experience in Japan or in some Asian countries, but in Europe or Middle East, I never meet those kind of the complications. So that's why one of the reasons I want to avoid the knuckle wiring or the ADR for the Asian people. Actually, I have so many experience in the CTO in all over the world, not only in Japan, but also the Europe, Middle East. Vessel structure is totally different, I guess. So Yamane Sensei also said. Hey, じゃあ、6、8、10。はい、リフレッシュ。はい、10。はい、リフレッシュ。よし。前半の広げて。はい、10。はい、リフレッシュ。
Are you dilating the subintimal space now? Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, I dilated the subintimal space, so that I will check the IVAS from now.
So this ballooning is just for the space for the IVAS advance.
Only 1.25.
I am a big fan of IVOS, and I have a talk later on today, but I really don't know how IVOS is going to help you here. All you're doing is creating a larger subintimal space.
No.
Your wires are going to be flying left and right. You won't be able to re-enter. Again, I hope I'm wrong. I really wish you have a successful case, but I really don't understand at this point what the IVOS will tell you that you don't know.
どうなってんだこれは。
And please prove me wrong. I want to learn, but
録画して。どうなってんだな。I think it's in the two lumen, right? No?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Could you change the image, IVAS image, please? Yeah, thank you.
It's hard. ここがな怪しいんだよな、でも実は。でも、インティマの中にはいるんだけど。
I think not so bad.
ちょっと止めて。Okay, じゃあ from the beginning, this is the, okay. This is the lotus root side. So most distal portion is here. あれどう思うこれ、can you see the media is 3 o'clock? So I already recognized the CTO, I guess. Or is one なんか one membrane is
Yeah,
there.
one layer. There is a one layer. But also with intraplug.
So I think this is not subintimal space because the true lumen is not compressed.
Okay, true lumen is here. I think it's here. The crest.
So we can see the side branch is here. This is the side branch. So that means if we can select it here, we can recognize CTO. Is it okay? Right?
Yes, I agree with you.
So maybe we can continue the IBUS guided rewiring because all IBUS caster is in a plug, is not subintimal. Is there any other opinion or any suggestion for this IBUS findings?
It's hard to tell.
ここは completely true lumen, right? じゃあ続けよう。ちゃんとこれ、どっか行っちゃわないようにしてね。ちゃんと置いて、ちゃんと固定してください。じゃあ、コルセアとシオンください。So, I think that this kind of the procedure a little bit boring for the audience, I'm sorry, but this is my way. So, of course, sometimes ADR or some re-entry procedure is skipped this kind of the step and shorten the procedure time. I fully understand and also agree with this in some part. But in these IBUS findings, so why IBUS caster is in a plug and so only one membrane is there between the true lumen and the IBUS caster. So we can deselect the plug and try to select the distal true lumen with IBUS guidance. これせよ。どうしたの？
Dr. Nasu, since you have an 8 French guide here, is it possible to actually consider a real-time IVUS guide?
Yes, of course. This Thermal IVUS is available the 7 French guiding catheter for the IVUS guided rewiring. But the 8 today I'm using the 8 French guide, so it's enough to it has enough space for real-time IVUS guidance.
Dr. Nasu?
Yes.
Ballooning with dilatation with bigger balloon is good or not?
For this case, for this situation?
Yes.
Yeah, you want to make it some connection between yeah, this is not the promising way. So I want to try to select it to lumen. If impossible, this is your opinion is one of the option. Yes, I think so. なんか入んないね。瞬時入んないので、シオンブラックください。
Can anyone enlighten me a little bit? I mean, what does the IVUS show us here that we didn't already know? We know the wire position, we know the distal cap.
Yes, and also
you're playing with the
IVUS,
IVUS for 30 minutes.
yeah, IVUS for us, we have a chance to recognize from the Antegrade rewiring with IVUS guidance.
That's impossible. You're never going to be able to do that.
It's impossible. I think it is possible.
I bet you $100 that there's no way you're going to be able to get back in with this technique.
He can do that.
And if you are, it's not going to be because of the IVUS guidance. It's going to be just because the wire slipped in the true lumen. I really have difficulty understanding what you're trying to do.
But I think it. Yeah, I also understand why can I. So why don't you think the IVUS guided rewiring is impossible in this situation? Yeah, of course, ADR is one of the options. I fully agree with you, but IVUS guided rewiring.
Well,
in
good
this
luck.
situation is
I hope you're successful, but you won't.
いや、そんなに悪いことはしてないと思うんだけどな。ねえ、日本の皆さん、なんか言ってくださいよ。そんなに。
Yeah, and actually, this IVUS the wiring in the CT region is not technique. I think we think that this IVUS is one of the more one of the estimation tool of the anatomy, and the more good recognition of the anatomy is a more good combination and of the success. ADR is one of the technique. But IVUS is not technique, actually not technique.
Can you repeat what you said? I'm not sure I followed.
Yeah, ADR function, if succeeded, it's okay, already finished, but it's failed. It's failed. It's failed meaning that it's a fail. So, but I think that this IVUS finding shows us we can have a chance to rewiring from the Antegrade side. So if now IVUS is in a completely false lumen, there's a very, very less chance to IVUS guided rewiring. But in this IVUS findings, it's not so bad, I guess.
I think I said enough. I'm not going to keep on commenting anymore on what you're doing.
そんなこと言わないで。
That is so completely different culture of the
Culture,
that is because so in Japan so IVUS is so completely covered by the insurance. So that in Japanese PCI, so about more than 90% of the cases were performed so IVUS guided PCI. So
I use 100% IVUS in my cases.
Yeah.
But not for this. This is futile.
But also
I use 100% IVUS in all my cases. I strongly believe that if you're going to do a PCI, you have to do it perfect, whether it's a CTO or a mid-RCA or anything. But this use of the IVUS here, all it's doing, it's expanding the subintimal space, and it's. I hope I'm wrong. Good luck. But again, I'm not going to say anything else. I just think that this is. You have to do something else.
Yeah. But I agree with you. So if the IVUS is also in the subintimal lumen,
We knew that with our eyes closed. Yeah. We don't need IVUS to tell us that he's subintimal.
That is not a subintimal.
We knew that 30 minutes ago that he was subintimal. What have we learned?
That is also in intraplaque because so if there is a
what intraplaque? That's not intraplaque.
In my humble experience, even use of IVUS is not always helpful. Of course, in my hospital, we don't have anti-O. Sometimes we use volcano, which is very bulky, or opticross, and we have to cut the distal end of the tip of the volcano, the opticross, but it's not very deliverable. So the problem is that to identify the tip. So it is not always easy to identify the tip, and quite often the wire still goes out.
So do something else. Stop doing what you're doing. It's not working.
So the interstitium, the IVUS located intraplug, not subintimal space. So it is not necessarily the IVUS guided re-entry technique, because more proximal site and between the lumen and the IVUS, there is a slight plug. It means guide wire can maybe cross. We don't use maybe chip detection ADR technique, IVUS guided technique, I think.
I really hope I'm wrong, but I don't see any way you can succeed with this technique.
What kind of guide wire do you use in IVUS guided rewiring?
Now I'm using the Neo 3 also, but yeah, of course I will change to the more penetration, high penetration wire next to 2 or 4 or something. Anyway, I want to deploy the microcatheter to inside the CTO segment. So now, ここだね。どこにいる？あんま余計なことしない。わかんなくなっちゃう。なんでそういう余計なことしちゃダメ。ここで入んなきゃ。反対側だね。で、方向合ってるかな。どこにいる？12時か。それがじゃあ違うじゃん。こっち行かなきゃ。よいしょ。
Nasu Sensei, can you tell us your plan? What is your strategy in your mind?
Yes, of
when will you
course.
switch to other techniques, for example, Retrograde or whatever, ADR?
No, I will continue the IVUS guidance because, so as the Japanese colleague already said, that IVUS is not subintimal space. So if the subintimal space is made by my second wire, yeah, of course I will change to the strategy to the Retrograde.
Okay, so we're going to let you work, and we're going to go on the first lecture by... who is giving it, Dr. Habara? Yeah, Habara. Yes. He's going to talk to us about Antegrade tips and tricks, troubleshooting in CTO PCI. Please don't teach us about how to do IVUS guided.
Yeah. Today I want to talk about
it just doesn't work.
Antegrade approach. So
So this is a usual strategy in antegrade approach. Careful analysis of the angiogram and cardiac CT, and penetrate the proximal cap and single wire manipulation and guide wire escalation. And so after that, parallel wire technique and I was guide rewiring and ADR. But so there are so many techniques for the in antegrade approach. But so I have only 8 minutes, so that so today I want to talk about the careful analysis of angiogram and cardiac CT. So can we set a perpendicular projection for CTO region in daily practice? So perpendicular view is very important to use for the antegrade approach. So we usually use bilateral angiography. So this is a diagonal CTO. So this is aureo-cranial 43 and LL 52. So usually we use this angle, so aureo-cranial and LL-cranial. Even in bilateral angiography, appropriate wire direction to get distal lumen is often identified in daily practice. So this aureo-cranial view is guide wire is downside and the true lumen is upper side. This means this image, upper side is a true lumen and the guide wire is downside. So this means this angiogram is 10 o'clock around that. And our soft calculate perpendicular view is our caudal view, but we use area cranial view. Area cranial view is guide wire is left side and the true lumen is right side. This means this arrow about 11 o'clock. So that this is looks perpendicular view, but this true angle is only 56 degrees. This means this two view is not perpendicular view. So that how to detect optimal perpendicular view? So I will show one case. This is a circumflex CTO, and there is no collateral from the RCA. And usually we use cardiac CT to check the perpendicular view, like this one. At first, cardiac CT detects the cross-sectional view and detects distal CTO exit. And this is a perpendicular view. So blue line and green line, that is completely 90 degrees separated. And after that, change the Shine. So this is aerial view, and this is aerial view. This is aerial view, and we rotate it at the distal CTO exit. And this shows aerial caudal. So that is we can use by the angiogram, and that checks another opposite side. So this is our caudal, and after that, finally we check by the cardiac CT, aerial caudal 39, and aerial cranial 65 and 10. So that is calculated by the CT analyze. And this is aerial cranial 65 and cranial 10, and this is aerial and caudal. This is also perpendicular view for this CTO exit. So in near future, plasma-mediated ablation system will come. For that, penetration plane method is useful. And so that in this method, perpendicular view is very important. So that Dr. Nasu talked in the live demonstration. So he calculated the perpendicular view. So now we use cardiac CT, but in future, this software will show us the perpendicular view by the calculated by the mathematics. And coronary CT angiography, I talk more to the clarify proximal cap and visceral anatomy. So this is So this is angiography. The angiography is very important for that beginner of the CTO operator. So we cannot see the entry of the CTO. This is our caudal view. This is aerial-cranial view. There's no entry of the circumflex. And so this is a caudal view. That is a no stump. So that if there's just a no stump, very difficult to perform the CTO. But we check the aerial caudal view. So aerial caudal view, there is a little bit channel. This side. So here. This is a channel. So this aerial caudal view shows us that there is a no stump CTO, there is a channel. So of course, after that, we have to check the IVAS. But this case was XTR was succeeded to cross. And so this is cardiac CT is also very useful for CTO. So this is a proximal RCA CTO. Like this one. It looks very difficult because we cannot see the vessel course. Like this one is true, this one, or upper side, we cannot see. But coronary CT could show us a vessel course, like this one. So it's upper side and also turn to the down. And so this course is true. So we can advance to the guide wire to this side. So as usual, so the guide wire go to this upper side. We thought so this is a branch or not, or so this is outside of the vessel or not. So it is also very difficult to use a stiff wire or something like this one. It is a little bit scary to advance because it is outside of the vessel or branch. But so we can see the cardiac CT, and also the vessel course we can know. So we can advance. Of course, it is a little bit difficult to perform an antegrade approach and also perform a retrograde, and finally succeeded. So summary, for antegrade wiring, the perpendicular view is very important. Finding out about it before the procedure can lead to success procedure. At present, it is useful to examine them using cardiac CT, but in the future, software will be available to examine them using angiography. In addition to perpendicular view, careful analysis of angiography and cardiac CT prior to the CTO PCA procedure will assist the antegrade procedure in various situations. For example, when the entrance of CTO is unknown. This is the final slide. So antegrade PCI is the basis of CTO PCI and is safer than the retrograde procedure. Preparation is important to increase its success rate, and not only angiogram but also cardiac CT should be used. Thank you for your attention. And talk to next.
Dr. Habara talk about retrograde approach.
Yeah,
Is that?
Next step is a retrograde approach. So this is a strategy of the retrograde procedure. So as usually, antegrade fail, retrograde channel tracking, and microcatheter cross, and wire crossing in CTO, and after that, externalization. So at first, we talk about retrograde channel tracking. So this is our CTO. So you can see some retrograde channel. So this is our cranial view. Our cranial view is usually we can focus as a proximal of the septal branch, and so of course we can see the connection of the PD branch, but this is usually shortened. So that is our cranial view is focused to the proximal of the septal, and for to see the connection of the PD branch, that is our caudal view is better. So that is longer, like this one. So this is a compare our cranial view, and so this is our caudal view. Our cranial view is we can see the proximal site, and so of course distal site of the septal branch. Our caudal is we can see more detail, like some branch or visceral course. So I will show one case. So this is our CTO also. So this is our cranial view, and this is our caudal view. So it looks very straight and so very easy to cross. But that guide wire could not cross easily, even though this image. In those situations, so LAO view is very useful. So this is a LAO view. So you can see some bending portion and some branch. So that at first guide wire go to this straight line, but this cannot negotiate to distal. So and after that we change to this course, but this course is very severe bend like this one. So finally this channel could not be succeeded because this LAO view is helpful to understand the morphology of the channel. And so this is our CTO, very long one. So this is a retrograde channel of this circumflex one. So but this epicardial channel has a very tiny bend, so that it is difficult to cross. In this situation, so balloon screening technique is useful. So this is a balloon at the circumflex, and check the angiogram, so that we can see another channel. So this is diagonal to the PL branch, and we can see this channel, and the three could cross this channel. And so this is another case. This is already CTO, and so you can see the good collateral from the PD branch to the septal branch. But first wire go to the proximal branch, and after that we change the pullback and advance. But guide wire go to the distal branch. So this situation, we frequently meet this situation. So in this situation, double lumen catheter is very useful. So that and describe first wire, and double lumen catheter advance, and first wire is a marker, and advance the second wire, and after that, change the microcatheter to the corsair, and cross the branch. So that's retro channel tracking to select the appropriate channel. So angiographic view is very important. And if there is no appropriate channel, the balloon screen technique is also one choice. And when the selection of the target channel is difficult, double lumen catheter is helpful. And microchannel cross. So sometimes guide wire could be cross the channel, and but retrograde microcatheter could not pass. And in this situation, change the microcatheter is a kind of the microcatheter is one choice. So this is corsair. Corsair could not negotiate it at this portion, but fine cross could pass. Of course, there is a resistance, but fine cross could advance the channel. And this is another case. This is also microcatheter curve not cross this portion. So in this situation, the anchor balloon technique. So there is a circumflex in the stent. At the stent, balloon was dilated, and anchor balloon technique, and strong backup, and microcatheter could pass this tight stenosis situation. And this is another option. So if this is a case, Caravel and fine cross and corsair, all of them could not pass, and a small OTW balloon could pass the region, pass the channel. And this is another channel. this is a septal channel, so fine cross corsair and the caravel all could not pass. And so small balloon could not pass also. So you can see the severe bend in the channel. So if we push this strongly, so it makes a hematoma in the septal channel. It's very dangerous. It leads to dry tamponade. So in this situation, we have to change another channel. So another septal channel failed, and so this is a change to the septal epicaldular channel and failed, and so this epicaldular channel was succeeded finally. So this is a final choice. So if the caravel fine cross corsair could not pass this epicaldular channel diagonal to LAD. In this situation, the kissing wire technique helps this situation. This is the final choice. So that if microcatheter could not pass, so change the microcatheter, and so an anchor balloon technique, and so small balloon dilatation, and change the target channel and the kissing wire technique. So there are those techniques. And so wire crossing in CTO. So IVAS guided reverse cut is very useful. But also this is RCA CTO, and also XTR could pass it. But also of course Corsair could channel fortunately channel. Pass the channel, and so distal exit, and so guide wire go to the proximal, and but caravel could not advance in the CTO site. So then we advanced the Corsair also very strongly. So you can see that this microcatheter prolapse to the in the septal. This means this is this broken the septal channel, and so there is a large hematoma appear to this in the septal. So that it makes dry tamponade. So we have to fenestration with confidence. So and so when the microcatheter could pass through the CTO region after the crossing the retrograde approach, so balloon trapping is also very useful. Like this one, so guide wire go to the in antegrade guiding, and also 2.5 balloon dilatation and trapping, and also microcatheter advance into the guiding catheter. But also sometimes guiding catheter could not advance in the CTO region. At this situation, rendezvous technique in the guiding catheter is one choice. So guide wire insert to the antegrade corsair in a guiding catheter. And after that, so antegrade corsair is advanced, and the retrograde microcatheter is a pullback. That is a microcatheter kissing. This is one choice. This is when reverse cut isn't easy. And final, so externalization. After externalization, so externalization is make a dissection in CTO site. So that after the externalization, so we never inject contrast in the antegrade. If so, we made a antegrade injection, it makes a large hematoma like this one. So that's also never perform a antegrade injection after the reverse cut technique because it makes a large dissection in the hematoma. In summary, to identify the most appropriate retrograde channel, the selection of the appropriate angiographic view angle is very important. When the microcatheter could not pass the channel or CTO region, avoid pushing strongly. Use different type of microcatheter and use various techniques to solve the result and avoid complication. And the reverse cut is a technique to form dissection and pass the wire, and the injection of contrast media from the antegrade should never be performed because it will increase the size of dissection or hematoma. This is the final slide. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Dr. Habara.
Should we go back to the cath lab, or should we finish the talks and then go?
Okay. Nasu-sensei, please go to cath lab.
No. Yes, patient is the ECG. a little bit changed. So, and also I checked the UCZ. So we can see that some pericardial effusion, not so much, but we have a chance to make it perforation from the antegrade side. So I dilated the balloon just in front of the CTO segment by 2 balloon. Then now I'm changed to the retrograde side. So that I will check the chip injection from the septal branch. This is the current situation. その前のを見せてほしいな。よっしゃ。1枚、アリウクラニアルで取ろうか。取るよ。これ抜きましょう。持って。ね、取りますよ。はいはいはい。いや、それお前が見てよ。大丈夫？いや。はいはい、どうぞ。Anyway, I will check it one by one. いいからいいから。見て。シアンちょうだい。シアンください。シアンください。シアンください。何？何が言いたいの？どうしたの？いや、あれフィスチュラでしょ。全然関係ない。よいしょっと。はい。
The osteolethmin looks a bit funny when you do the injection from the iliocranial. So we might need to cross-check with an IVUS.
Oh, okay. Okay, we can check the IVUS now. Oh, there's some disease in the short left main. Well, anyway, we can check the IVUS. Yeah, it's very good suggestion. ここでいい。くさびちょうだい、早く。
Did you take aerial caudal view?
Anyway, OK。あれ、コーダルにして。コーダルにしてください。Now we checked the IVAS for the left name. Oh, 落ちる落ちる。何か。はい、記録して。正面コーダルかなんかにして太面見えるよ。
Please wait 2 minutes. Okay.
This is circumflex. So it's not so significant disease. OK. There's some plaque is here because it's very short left main, so space is enough, I guess. Is okay?
Yeah, okay.
And also, I inserted one wire to the aorta to prevent the deep engage of the guiding. くさびください。カラベルト用意して。さてと。ちょっともうちゃんとフラッシュしてほしい。よいしょ。クラニアルにして。いいじゃん。右手抜いて、先生。抜いて。抜いてください。はい。
Dr. Nasu?
Yes?
Unfortunately, time is limited.
Okay,
We have
I'm
to
sorry.
go to
Yes, of course.
another lecture.
Yes, of course.
We believe your success.
Thank
you very much.
Yeah, I do my best, of course.
Okay. Okay, next speaker is Karmpaliotis. The title is CTO PCI, the role of intravascular ultrasound.
Thank you very much, Sensei. It's a great pleasure to be here and deliver this talk. These are my disclosures, nothing relevant to the talk. So the ultrasound is extremely important in CTO PCI, and as we said before, in every complex PCI, I use 100% intravascular imaging in all my cases, and CTOs are the most complex cases, so I think we need to use intravascular imaging to try and understand several things. And one of the things that we use to intravascular ultrasound is to identify the proximal cap, to troubleshoot a difficult reverse cart, to identify dissection planes in distal bifurcations, and to study stents after crossing. It's also a very useful research tool and has allowed us to learn many things about what we're doing to the vessels and how they behave after stenting or crossing. So there are 4 options to crossing a CTO antegrade wire escalation. That means that you're trying to stay intraplaque, retrograde dissection reentry, retrograde wire escalation, and antegrade dissection reentry. But this is not as simple. We did a study with Akiko and other members of our staff when I was at Columbia, and we found some very interesting and surprising findings. So we had 400 to almost 500 cases that we crossed, and then we performed intravascular ultrasound. And the operator in the beginning has declared what his intended mode of crossing the CTO was. So when we talk about antegrade wire, the idea is that you try to stay intraplaque, retrograde wire as well, antegrade dissection reentry, you try to get subintimal, and so on and so forth. And what we found surprisingly is that even if we do antegrade wire escalation, as you see here, in about a quarter of the cases, we were subintimal. What was even more interesting to me is that when we tried intentionally to create a knuckle, we were not always successful in doing that. In 20% of the cases, even if you intend to dissect, you stay intraplaque. So, and that means that there is no real-time way of knowing exactly where you are despite your best intentions. And also what you see at the bottom B part here is that the more difficult the CTO, the more likely is, no matter what technique you're trying to use, is to go extraplaque. So this is something to keep in mind. The fact that we say we're doing antegrade wire escalation doesn't guarantee that we're going to stay intraplaque, or even we try to do reverse cart. Sometimes we don't go extraplaque, but we stay in the plaque and not subintimal. Very interesting is when we're trying to do retrograde wire escalation, you see that almost in 90% of cases, you're going to end up getting subintimal. Another issue that has been highly debated in the past is intraplaque versus extraplaque stenting. And in our studies, the only difference that we saw was that we had some branch occlusion, obviously, and that caused some periprocedural MI. Otherwise, the other complications and the stent sizes and so on and so forth were not different. So identify a proximal cap. Interesting study we're doing with Akiko. I hope it's going to be published very quickly. In the near future is that the most difficult area to identify is the proximal cap of an occluded LAD. And that's because the angle is 90 degrees. If you have a shorter angle, you have a longer run of your IVUS to identify the vessel. If the angle is more than 90 degrees, then things become more difficult. So let me show you a couple of cases for sake of time. So this is an LAD CTO we kind of know where the proximal cap is, but we're not in the guessing business in our profession. So this is a pullback, and you will see shortly that at around 5 or 6 o'clock, this is the proximal cap. So essentially, it's like a branch, but you don't see flow. Then we puncture, and then we check again with IVUS to make sure that we are in the structure of the vessel, and also to make sure that we are as much centrally in the proximal cap, and this is the final result. So identifying a proximal cap and IVUS-guided puncture is one of the most useful applications of intravascular ultrasound in CTO PCI. Troubleshooting a reverse cart. Reasons for difficult reverse cart is vessel tortuosity, calcification, not performed in the optimal position, and this is a relatively new concept. You need to do your reverse cart where the two wires are closer to one another so that you can use smaller balloon and avoid injury. Balloon dilatation not performed all the way back to the proximal lumen, true lumen proximally. Knuckles can cause big hematomas, so we're getting less and less aggressive with big knuckles. Antegrade and retrograde wires are not in the subintimal space. This is the ideal situation for reverse cart. Another study that we did from Colombia, 4 patterns of antegrade and retrograde wire. If everything is intraplaque, that's good. If both wires are subintimal, are good. But the most difficult situation is when your antegrade wire is subintimal and the retrograde wire is intraplaque. And we found in this study that you need to do something to change the wire position in the vessel so that you complete the reverse cart. So yes, in the US we can do biradial. It's not only Japan or Europe, 7 cylinder. Again, very easy to go retrograde, forming an antegrade knuckle. And what you see here is actually the retrograde knuckle. And you see that the intravascular ultrasound is in the true lumen here. But as we do the pullback, we actually see that there is an optimal position here where we can make the connection. Some might argue that the connection is already made. So instead of getting bigger and bigger balloons, risking a perforation or doing the reverse cart in the wrong position by using the ultrasound, you can see where the wires are closer, and then you can use your balloons and do the reverse cart. So we did the reverse cart, and this is the final result here. Another important application is identifying dissections in distal planes. This is a relatively complex RCA CTO. This is a microcatheter that we're trying to create antegrade dissection reentry. By mistake, we inject it, and you see that we have a proximal dissection here, and the vessel is dissected all the way down there. However, that's not always a set of failure. But usually if you put a knuckle at the bifurcation, it will re-enter. The question is, when are you going to put the stent? Are you going to lose the branch or not? And by doing a pullback here from the RPL, you will see that the PDA will come at 6 o'clock here, and that the dissection plane is proximal to the PDA. So that gave us enough confidence that if we put a stent across, we will not lose the branch. And this is the proof that actually when you can identify where the dissection ends, you can place your stents and not lose side branches. And finally, sizing of the stents. 10 years ago or 15 years ago, when we started doing CTO PCI, everything was about crossing, and then I think we were really doing a very poor job at optimizing our stents. So now the paradigm has shifted from acute success to safety of the procedure and durability of the procedure. And this Korean study shows that actually if you use IVUS-guided PCI for your CTO, you have a reduction in MACE, which is statistically significant. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much. We would like to close this session. Thank you very much for your cooperation.